All right, let's get into our next discussion now. The federal government has approved the concessioning of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo disclosed this at the 5th Presidential Quarterly Business Forum, which held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. State House correspondent Maria Olasheinde reports.
The event kicked off with the arrival of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. This is the 5th Presidential Quarterly Business Forum, which allows the economic management team of the government to interact with members of the organized private sector to discuss issues relating to the economy and proffer solutions on how to move the nation's economy forward. During the interactive session, several issues came up about lack of access to credits or finance for the MSMEs to thrive. In response to these issues, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo spoke about the need for both parties to remain focused while facing the challenge of confronting a system that is accustomed to rent-seeking and gratification. He also spoke about the mismanagement of public facilities being neglected for a very long time, which is why there's need for a general overhaul of Nigeria's airports and the need to take them out of the public sector.
And after they are taking a look at the facility, they said, look, this thing is just terrible. And this is the case with most public utilities. We need to take it out of the public sector. We need to concession those airports. Fortunately, the Federal Executive Council has approved the concessioning of the Lagos Airport, Abuja, and So we need to put this through an open, transparent process.
It's also worthy of note that regulatory agencies frequently also have issues dealing with the private sector. Some of the complaints we have had include aggressive tax avoidance and in many cases even tax evasion. And this, of course, deprives government of the revenues that are needed to provide much needed services.
The combined effort of the private and the public sector with focus on one thing, which is Nigeria. And we all want Nigeria to succeed for all of us. And working together is how we will do it. That's what this forum represents.
In line with the Buhari presidency's agenda to create an enabling environment for business in the country, Osinbajo encouraged the private sector to keep the criticisms and suggestions coming because government's business is to ensure they make changes and do what is required to improve the economy generally. Maria Olasheinde, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, let's get into our discussion now. We have joining us the Chairman, Transport Services Senior Staff Association, Fan Branch, Danjuma Ahmed. Danjuma, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Right.
We'll also be expecting another guest to join us, but let's start off right away. Danjuma, this is not the first time government is talking about concessioning generally. And anytime the government mentions this, so many unions within the aviation sector are not very happy about it.
Yeah.
How pleased are you that government is planning a concession this time around?
Over time, when federal government make pronouncement like this, that they want to concession, particularly the more viable airports in Nigeria, when you talk of Lagos and Abuja, these are the airports that provides the needed fund to run other airports in Nigeria. FAN has a responsibility to manage over 22 airports in Nigeria. And you agree with me that most of these airports were politically created for political reasons, not mainly for economic reasons. And FAN has been mandated to take care of those airports. Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Lagos are the most viable airports in Nigeria. They provide the needed fund, and there are ICAO regulations that states for an airport to operate as an international or domestic airport must have certain facilities, human capital. And it's FAN that has the responsibility to provide those services and the equipment. And we get that money from the revenue we generate from these four viable airports. So when you say you are concessioning the 4 major airports, what happens to the remaining 17 airports? Over 6,900 Nigerians are employed by FAN, being paid from the revenue generated from these airports. What happens to them? And over time, concessions, FAN is not new to concession. right in the early 90s, when NA was in existence, there are issues of concessions. We are used to it. We lease out some part of the airport for private hands to operate. But this time around, when you say you are giving out the whole airport, it clearly means that Nigeria is either mortgaging its own means of livelihood to other private sector. Secondly, even the security challenges are there. What happens when you mortgage your national gateway to a private hand? These are issues that we've been raising to government, telling them, look, we need to look inward. Concession is not the answer. There are so many options that government can do in order to improve the facilities in our airport.
All right, Danjuma, before we come to what government can do to make airports more viable, we cannot deny the fact that the present economic realities in Nigeria, of course, warrants that the government of the country should do what other countries are doing. The government shouldn't be building real systems, shouldn't be the ones, putting structures in place. That's according to even an analyst we had yesterday, and many have said that. So, yes, we know FAAN is not even complaining about handling the 22 airports in Nigeria, but then, looking at what you just said, why would FAAN be struggling to maintain 17 airports with the income generated from just 4? Is that even economically viable?
Yeah, that's like I said earlier. If the government decided not to build the airports, we won't have the issues. If we said, okay, let us have airports that can bring money to Nigeria, we won't be here talking about how to manage those airports that are just politically built. Look at Katsina, for example. What does Katsina Airport bring to Nigeria? We only operate once in a year during Hajj operations. After Hajj operation, it closed down. Mina, Makodi, a lot of them. And there are facilities that must be maintained. So if government wants to has those airports, definitely they should allow fund to run it its own way. The revenue we generate from fund, if there is no government intervention, I'm telling you, we can be able to manage this airport profitably and efficiently. But there is a lot of interference from federal government. They impose and employ staff on high cadre, giving fund a very high wage bill. At the same time, we manage the facilities. A managing director will be sitting in his office. Honorable Minister will send somebody who is on the grade level 17 and imposing on him. And all will be paid through the IGR. We don't receive subvention from the federal government.
Well, we will understand that there are some airports that were concessioned in the past that have been unresolved so far. And that is some people like you that are against the move are saying that why would the government do that again? So would you say they should resolve those ones first to serve as good examples first before going into another one? Yeah,
we've been saying this. Look at Bicotany. It's a clear example here. We have other concessions like Mavis. The unions at the time has to force out Mavis out of our airports because the concession agreement was skewed against public interest. The same thing happened in Bicotany now. For the past 10 years that Bicotany has been operating here, they have not paid a dime to FAN. And we are providing services for them. We provide lights, security, and other things. They don't pay. The agreement was skewed against public interest for almost nobody can tell you what is the tenure of that concession agreement. And we've been talking about it. Let us review. For even investors' interest, they need to be given that confidence that, yes, if we go into business with government, we should be rest assured that the government, the business will last and stand the test of time. But when it is built under a rotten platform, definitely it will crumble.
All right. Now, the concern you are expressing now concerning on the concessioning generally, is it more on the staff welfare, the welfare of the staff of FAN, whom if the airports are concessioned, they stand to lose their jobs, or it is about the effectiveness of the aviation system or the airports generally?
One of our major issues is staff welfare, like you said.
That's a major one.
That's one of the major problems we have. And we also believe that FAN has the capacity to manage this airport if allowed to operate freely. The revenue we generate from this airport, we can be able to manage all our airports.
Well, when you said if allowed, in what context of allowed?
Like
for instance, if we go to Murtala Mohammed International Airport or Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, a lot of things are not functioning. So when you say allowed, does the government prevent or stop FAN from fixing the airport? Sometimes you hit, okay, for instance, someone travels from Johannesburg or travels from the United States, you land into Murtala Mohammed Airport, the heat that meets you, the stench, these are the first welcome you get. So does the government prevent FAN from ensuring that the airports are clean, the airports have a conditioning and all of that?
They did that in a way. Like, if our management present, we have capable engineers that manage our facilities. We have, like I said, the capacity to do that. But you discover that if I, as an engineer, recommend that my cooling system needs this, and that to be put in place, and I suggested so facilities to be provided for me to effectively do that job. While I was preparing to do that, I would receive a call from above that allow that, somebody is coming to supply it for you. And that person is supplying an obsolete equipment for me. And I'll be forced to use it by my boss. So what I'm trying to say is that it's the same government that is saying FAN is not performing that is killing FAN. Because they impose these contractors on us. They don't allow us to use our own engineers or our own facilities that we recommend
for example, using that conjecture that you just made now, why are the obsolete gadgets not even there, cooling systems not even there in the first place? Because once you disembark from airplanes in states like, for example, Kano, Kaduna, that are hot, the heat alone for a foreigner could exactly.
I think we have gone beyond that.
Those ones in place.
I think FAN has gone beyond that. No airport in Nigeria you go that you don't find a cooling system working.
You still walk on the runway. You still, after this market on the planes, not all of them have the cooling system that will take you from there to the terminal inside.
No, it depends on the structure of the terminal. Some terminals are not built with aviary bridges. I think it's only Abuja and Lagos that will have aviary bridges. Most of airports in Nigeria are open bay. Aircraft part are open bay, then passengers will be conveyed on a vehicle to the terminal building. But like I said, if you enter our terminal buildings, there is no how in Nigeria today that you find out that there is no cooling system. All our cooling system works. But what we are saying is that for us to do better, we should be allowed to do it on our own.
Yeah, but then if FAN is complaining that it should be allowed, that wants to perform better, it can do the job well. You said earlier that the funds you're making from these 4 international airports are used to manage the other ones, and then basically the federal government is the one controlling the purse and all that. So apart from staff welfare, like Mike mentioned earlier, what other areas do you think FAN will be affected? Because it seems that it's more of employee interests first.
Not only employee interests, we are also concerned about service provision. We want to provide excellent and efficient services to Nigerians and traveling public. And like I said, if concession is not the solution to that.
So what is?
Having a big terminal building doesn't mean you get the whole revenue in Nigeria or globally. No. What you are concerned mainly is safety and security, which FAN is having the capacity to provide that. So investors will feel happy to come into our country when they are safe and secured. But by the time you said concession out, who do you know? Do you know the person that is picking up those
Something
facilities?
just came to my mind now, and the video, I'm sure you saw it, Mike. I think we talked about it. It trended online. There was a visual of a rat, a very big rat, that was dangling on the ceiling of Lagos International Airport. It wasn't the first time. It was another one.
The rat went viral.
Exactly, it did. And then the ceiling, the roofing of the airport, even in Lagos as well, was leaking at one point, and people there were capturing the video, and they posted it online. This is an embarrassment, really, to Nigeria. And then, of course, I'm sure some of your members saw that, but what was done? Close to nothing, and there were almost videos like that per time happening. So would you blame the federal government saying that, okay, let's put this in the hands of those that have the money to project the airports, the international airports we have, the 4 of them, well?
Like that incident happens when there was a renovation going on at the terminal building. And that particular portion where the leakage happened, the roof, the previous night was removed to be replaced overnight. Then there is a downpour. That area has already been cordoned off, out of use. Secondly, there is an existing structure going on, that is the Chinese terminal, the new terminal building, close to the old terminal building. There is an idea of connecting these terminals. You understand? So while work is going on, definitely, like if you are going to change the structure of this building, definitely there must be some issues that we must contend with in the course of your renovation. That's exactly what happened. We are renovating those facilities and rain fell. And Nigerians were very good in criticizing. The story now went viral.
All right.
We'll come to that.
We'll come to that. Let's put you on hold. All right. We have joining us now on phone the Secretary Aviation Roundtable, Group Captain John Ojikutu, retired, joining us right now. Group Captain, it's good to have you join us on TVC Breakfast. Now, we have heard about concessioning by government or concessioning of airports before. What is different about this proposed concessioning of Abuja and Lagos Airport from what has been before and what we've always heard?
I'm not sure there is any difference between what we've had before and what we're hearing now. The only slight difference is the fact that when it first started about 2014 or thereabout, we didn't get enough action on that statement. But this is the first time I think a government is taking a kind of proactive action. My only worry with the pronouncement I had yesterday or the day before yesterday is, what are we really concessioning out? Whether we are concessioning Lagos or we are concessioning Abuja or any other airport, what part of the airport are we really concessioning out? Because for me, there are two sides of the airport, the aeronautical side and the non-aeronautical side. Are we concessioning the aeronautical with the non-aeronautical? Then we are going to have problems. So I just want government to come out with a very clear statement with the idea of concessioning the airport. We are going to concessioning the airport. Which part of the airport are we concessioning? The aeronautical side or the non-aeronautical side? That is number one. The second aspect is the idea of just selecting Lagos and Abuja, because these are the viable airports. Lagos and Abuja are the most viable airport. Every other airport are just wish-wash. The next airport to rate is Port Harcourt. The question I will ask government, if I have the opportunity, is that why are we not concessioning Port Harcourt? Why are we not concessioning Kano? And I know the answer I'm going to get from government about Port Harcourt is that, oh, Port Harcourt is bad. There is nothing Port Harcourt to concession it out. At the time we concessioned MM2 out to Babalaki, it was in ashes. It was completely in ashes. Babalaki built that terminal from the scratch to the level where it finds itself today. So I would rather say that rather than government thinking of spending public money again on any airport terminal building, government should concession all the airports out. You don't give Lagos and Abuja to some big boys or any big company, whether they are coming from abroad or not, and leave the other airports out. We have almost about 26 airports, about 18 or 20 of them belong to the federal government. The other ones belong to the state. Even the states owned are being managed by government agency. All the airports that are run by the states, they cannot manage them. You have elements of FAN in them. You have elements of NAMA in all of them. So what I'm saying is that if we have to concession the airport, let's concession all of them out so that government does not spend public money, particularly on the terminal buildings.
All right,
because
Captain.
that is where we waste a lot of money. This is where government wastes a lot of money. And we are not concentrating to the real issue in aviation, which is the safety. Look for how long we left the runway in Abuja out. For almost about 6 years. When it went as bad as to be destroying some aircrafts that should have taken government to court because of their insurance. So we need to concentrate on the real issue of safety and leave the terminal building, which are just mere shopping malls. Let's leave them to the public. If Babalaki can build a terminal building, give out of terminal building. But what I'm just advising government to do is that concentrate on the non-aeronautical facilities like the terminal building, like the car park, like the aircraft parking area, excluding the runway, the taxiway, the towers, and every other thing that has to do with safety. And when you are concessioning an airport like Lagos, which is very viable, like I said, or Abuja, make sure you concentrate them along with 3 or 4 other non-viable airports. so that whoever buys Lagos knows that he has problem or he has money to spend to other airports. Government should stop now, because that is what obtains worldwide. Government should stop now by using public money to build terminal building.
All right, Captain.
Yes, my daughter.
Please let me come in here now. Yes, of course, we don't have enough information on the companies that have these airports concessioned to them. So it's quite dicey, really. But what are the implications, really, if the government concessions the entire airports, the two now that have been concessioned, Lagos and Abuja, to these private companies?
No. I don't think they have concessioned them. What they have told us is that they've gotten approval to concession them. They have no concession. To the best of my knowledge, none of the airport has been concessioned out. They've already got approval to concession. We're not listening to, and the government, the Vice President, if I listen to him very carefully, is that the concession is going to be transparent. But that is one side. The second side for me, like I said, is that what are we really concessioning? What are we concessioning out? The non-navigational or the navigational or the two combined? And I will not support the idea of concessioning the two. Let us concession the non-aeronautical side out.
Why?
Look, because we have problems with the aeronautical side. There are serious issues with aeronautical. For over the years, we have not been concentrating. We have not done more on that side. We have been building terminal building. All those ones have little or nothing to do with aviation. They are little or nothing. Almost $500 billion or million dollars they've already borrowed from China. They are using to build terminal. They have nothing to do with safety. Government needs to concentrate on safety. Most of the airports in this country have no runway landing lights. The TRACON we made that have expired, the lifespan expired about 3 years ago, we didn't even complete it. There are so many things. The radio, communication radios for aircraft, air traffic controls, they are not working. So what we are asking government to do is to concentrate on those sites. We are thanking God that we've never had serious crashes, but there are indices that are leading to us from getting into serious aircraft accidents. So those are the areas we are asking government to concentrate on. So that they leave the terminal building. You enter the terminal building, they are like the shopping malls. Leave them out. The way you gave MM2 to Babalaki, give them out to people to build. And concentrate on the runway lighting, concentrate on the tower, concentrate on the radar, concentrate on the air navigational services. Those are the areas. Most of the airports have no perimeter fence. Those that have perimeter fence don't have security fence. And the security fence we have are not up to the standard. These are the areas we are asking government to concentrate on. Leave the terminal building to Babalaki and Dangote.
All right, Captain. let me in the preparation to concession now. What are the critical factors the government is supposed to consider? Because I've heard arguments that sometimes it's not good to concession. Considering security, national security, is not good to concession a whole airport to either a foreign company or private individuals, as the case may be. But besides all of that, what should be the ideal factors to consider critically?
That is why I told you government must come out. What are we really concessioning out? And I say concession the non-aeronautical side out. The aeronautical side that has to do with the Chicago Convention Annex 1 to 17. Don't concession them out. Let those ones be in the hands of government. So let people not get themselves worried. The terminal building built by Balaki has not created any problem for us. Hand over the terminal building to whoever you want to hand them over to. But government concentrate on what belongs to it. The airport security belongs to government. They can't concession that one out. The air navigation, what government can do with that one is to commercialize it. But you can't give them out because out of the about 22 airports in this country, 12 of them are joint users with the military. So those are the things that I'm saying. All those areas cannot be concessioned out. So what they can concession the terminal building out, concession the car park out, concession the toll gate. Those are the things they should concession out. Let them not touch into the aeronautical side at all.
All right, there are still unresolved concession projects that have raised controversies in the past up till now, really, in the country. So many are saying because of that, the federal government shouldn't even concession any airport at all again, and that it should still carry on its own responsibilities.
My brother, my sister, what is it we are talking about? Why are they saying they shouldn't concession? People who say they shouldn't concession are thinking government want to concession the aeronautical and non-aeronautical. And I say separate them. If government is not thinking of separating them, we should make government to separate them. The area that concerns government, as far as I'm concerned, are the aeronautical side. The taxiway, the runway, the tower, the fire service, everything that has to do with safety and emergency services. We can't concession them out now. Even in some countries, they do. But right now, we cannot do that because of the level of our preparedness. We can't do that now. We can't hand that over to any private individual. Look at what we are doing with the power sector. But as far as we are talking about the airport now, what is the big toll gate? It's not, give it to anybody. Give the car park to anybody. Give the terminal building, they are all shopping mall. Give them out to people. But these are the areas that all these politicians that are in the National Assembly, that's the area they are putting their eyes. That's where they are spending money. We spend, if I tell you how much money we have spent into all the terminal building today, you'll be shocked. We have not spent 1/10 of it on training. As of 2006, NAMA had a shortage of 300 controllers. As I'm talking to you now, I have a shortage of over 1,000 aviation security staff. They have not been able to fill those gaps. Those are the areas that concern government. Rather than for them to spend money on training people, we are not spending money to train people. We are spending money to build terminal building. That is not what we are talking about now. Give terminal building to Dangote. Let him go and build it.
All right, Captain, we have heard from unions within the aviation sector who are kicking against the concessioning of airports. How should government engage them in this process?
The unions themselves have no thorough idea of what they are saying. How many of them have one thing or the other to do with MM2? The area the union should concentrate on is the area that I'm telling you now. Anybody that is not working in the airport, in the aeronautical side, can as well work at the motor park. If you are not working on the aeronautical side in the airport, you have no business being in the airport. That's what I'm telling you. The terminal building, you go in there, is it the person that is serving food in the restaurant that we are talking about? The terminal building, anybody can own the terminal building. Worldwide, a Nigerian is owning Gatwick Airport. That's the terminal building, not the aeronautical side. So we have to go with what the world is talking about now. Never mind this idea we have a category 1 today, we have category 2 tomorrow. All those things are on paper as far as I'm concerned. What the issue that we are running away from are looking at us on the face today. We want to do certification. We have 32 airports in this country. As I'm talking to you now, not one airport is certified. Not one. Not even Abuja, not even Lagos is certified. So what are we talking about? So what we are saying is that don't spend money on terminal buildings. Spend money on the area that can get the airport certified.
All right, Group Captain John Ojikutu, Managing Director of Centurion Security, thank you for your analysis on the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. We still have with us Danjuma Ahmed with us in here, and he's the Chairman, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association, fan branch, and we've been talking about this. Now, Group Captain Ojikutu mentioned, when I was asking him about issues of unions, he said the unions sometimes don't have a vivid understanding of the workings. Now, how should really government engage unions that concessioning can work? Because you travel to every country in the world, airports, even Nairobi. In
private hands.
They're all in private hands. Johannesburg, Otambo Airport, and so on. Even Rwanda. Wonderful, go to Morocco, go to Egypt.
Heathrow
Airport.
Yeah.
So why should Nigeria be different? If we have to really, government decides, okay, we are going ahead with concession and nothing can change it, for instance, how should you suggest that government should engage unions so that it can work, if that is the only option left right now?
Yeah, when the policy started, we have actually engaged government on this. We had a position paper which we submitted to the Honorable Minister. In it, we contained all the details and options. We provide options to federal government on how to go about this thing. Like Captain said, we have gone beyond telling government or trying to find out from government what really do they want to concession. There are about 6 parts of the airport that the runway, the aircraft parking area, the control tower, the terminal building, the land side, which is the car parks and the rest. In 1989, Chile started concession in 1989. What they did was, the first stage was to concession the land side, which is the car parks, the access gates, the toll gates, and the rest. The terminal building come later. But like he said, the aircraft parking area and the active aeronautical site was left in the hand of government. That is perfectly okay for us. We also suggested for our government that there are two types of concession. There's green and brown concession. Green concession allows an investor to be given a virgin land, clear it, build a runway, bring a terminal building, and we compete. And that's what we are saying. Like in Abuja, the permanent site of Abuja Airport is in Kwali Area Council. Clear that land for them. Let them build their brand new terminal building, their runways, then we'll compete with them. That will definitely create efficiency. You understand? FAD continue running these airports, be allowed to continue when we compete with the concessionaires. Services will determine where you go. If you go to a terminal and you find out it is leaking, you go to the next terminal building. Then tomorrow we'll fix our own. Then that will also translate to the cost of ticket. Because definitely I might reduce the tariffs for the airlines to operate in my terminal building. And that will translate to the cost of ticket, which will now bring passengers to fly. But you now concession, give big guys, they invest their money, build beautiful terminal buildings, charges will definitely increase. Nigerians may not be able to afford to fly. What is happening in Bakotini now is exactly what is happening. Their charges are so high compared to General Aviation Terminal or FAN. Airlines are trying to run away from that terminal. Because if they input the charges on the tickets, people hardly fly. Tickets now are cost at 30-something, 40,000 naira, a return ticket. How many Nigerians can afford that? So that translates to the economy, the GDP itself. So what we are saying, concession, give them green concession. We have no problem with that. Why leave us, let us operate our own. They come, we compete with them.
All right, let's bring in Foladele. She wants to tell us what Nigerians are saying about this plan online. Good morning to you, Fola. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Mr. Ahmed. All right, let's take some reactions really quickly. Okay, Good Governance says, now they won't concession Abuja and Lagos after deliberately killing their market values with non-maintenance. Honor Kakamfo says, meanwhile, Lagos Airport, Abuja Airport, and PH Airport are on the top 10 worst airports in Africa in 2017. Lakon says there should be proper business assets evaluation before concession of Lagos and Abuja Airport. Akinyosha says it's now officially approved concessions of Lagos and Abuja Airport. Better Nigeria we ask for, better Nigeria we want. Don Corleone says, concession Enugu Airport. People have to travel hours from southeast just to take a flight from Lagos and Abuja. Stop the marginalization.
Well, that's another issue altogether, I must say.
I'm sure you'd. Okay, Barnabas says, this is good news. We expect greater efficiency at the airports now. Citizens Alert says, Lagos, Abuja, that's where Nigeria starts and stops. Port Harcourt AP terminal still in a horrible state despite 2 major international flights. Because of time, I'll leave you to the marginalization discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
All right.
There are so many issues that whipped up.
Yeah, so many tweets, I must say.
Yes, the airports are truly the worst, some of the worst really in Africa. You have South African airports, you know, always getting well rated every year. And no Nigerian airport is always among the best.
They certainly will not be amongst the best when you don't have that investment into the industry.
Deficits.
Infrastructure. Because when you if you travel abroad and you're coming back, you just see the difference.
Indeed.
The difference between even when you are in the
and
plane
even the airlines
and then when
again.
So all of those are there. But however, we still have Danjuma Ahmed with us.
Yes.
You listened to, or you saw the reaction of people out there. When it comes to comparison between Nigerian airports and other airports around the world,
let's limit it to Africa first off.
South
African.
Okay, fine. South
airports.
Africa, Kenya, or
yeah.
Rwanda, or even Egypt and Morocco, as the case may be. What is the difference? What are they doing right that we are not doing in here?
The difference between our airports and these airports in these countries is that, like I said earlier, in Nigeria, our airports are tied together. Lagos is tied to Ibadan, Benin, Akure, Makodi. Abuja is tied to Minna, Jos, Yola, Sokoto. In most of these countries, all these airports are independent. And that is why second option we provide, suggested to the government is, let's fund be corporatized. If fund is corporatized, fund will be given the responsibility to decide which part or which airport to concession. We cannot say, okay, Lagos stand independent. All the resources we get from Lagos, we'll put it in Lagos, and we'll transform Lagos. Port Harcourt start on your own. We'll transform Port Harcourt independently. That's what happened in South Africa. All the airports are not tied. You don't use airport A to finance airport B. No. So you can see the difference. My budget in airport A will be managed by airport A. In Nigeria, my budget in airport A would take care of airport B, C, D, and E. So definitely you cannot compare the two.
All right, and we wonder all this could be because of the plan to give Nigeria a new national carrier. Thank you, Danjuma Ahmed, your chairman, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of FAN. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.